Hey everybody, it's me, Angel Benton, and it is time for another edition of Angel Sudsy Recap, where we delve into the world of daytime television and do a few reality shows on the side. I've got bad heartburn today, I'm sorry. One of those reality shows we're doing is Below Deck Med. And before we get to Below Deck Med, I've got a little anecdote to share. So this morning, I went to the doctor and I had a doctor's appointment. And I'm not going to lie, I was actually scared as hell, right? Because back in November of last year, I ran the Wine and Dine half marathon in Walt Disney World, and ever since then, my feet have been kind of hurting. And so I just kind of buried myself in my work, and I didn't really think too much about it. And I was still able to complete the Tinkerbell half marathon in May. But since Tink, it's just progressively gotten worse and worse. It's my heels, and I was in so much pain when I would get up in the morning. I could almost not walk. It was really bad. So I was terrified that they were going to be like, yeah, you've got diabetes and your feet need to be cut off. And I'm not joking. I was really scared of shit like that because diabetes runs in my family. So I was really nervous. But as it turns out, I don't have diabetes. I don't have to worry about my feet getting amputated. What I've got is plantar fasciitis, and that's easily fixed with a new pair of shoes, some insoles, and some exercises that I do in the mornings when I wake up. So you don't understand the amount of weight that was lifted off of my shoulders, and I got to lose a little weight too, FYI. But I can do that. I've done that so many times. I can do that. It's not. Honestly, I haven't been really focused on losing weight because normally when I lose weight, it's because it's vanity related and I want to look good naked and all that bullshit. But now I really don't care, and that's why I just like, if I'm gonna be fat, I'm gonna be fat, whatever. But now I realize I can't really be fat because that doesn't help the plantar fasciitis. Now I need some x-rays done of my feet because they want to make sure that it's not bone spurs, but they're pretty sure it's plantar fasciitis. So either way, I'm just so grateful. Anyways, I'm just in a really good mood. So I just want to say, to tell you all, it's a good idea to have good communication with your doctors. It really is. All doctors, whether it's dermatologists or podiatrist or infectious disease doctors or general practitioner or urologist or gynecologist. It's just best to just tell your doctors everything. I promise you they won't judge you. Not that I was worried about judgment because my heels were hurting. But anyways, regardless, and be honest. So that's my public service announcement for today. I can't believe I did that. I didn't really mean to get on my soapbox, but it's just important, especially in today when healthcare is on top of the news all the time. We've got healthcare now, so let's use it because we don't know how much longer we're going to have it. So that's all I want to say. Okay, moving on. Below Deck Med. Okay, so Below Deck Med this week was interesting. So here's kind of how I saw this playing out. Okay, because there was some drama in Croatia because the primary charter jet guest, Jason Ziegler, who I thought looked awfully familiar. And I know why. It's because he's been on Bravo on Millionaire Matchmaker before. And he and Hannah hit it off, and they kind of started flirting and texting with each other. Now, if you'll recall, in last week's episode, when he sat down in the hot tub, he had his iPhone on him. And he took it right out. So here's the thing. If it's an iPhone 7 or an iPhone 7 Plus, they're water resistant. So that means that they can take up to being submerged like feet underwater for a few minutes, and then they'll be fine. So I'm not quite sure, because it was literally seconds that he sat on his phone, pulled it out, and that was it. And Hannah came and offered, hey, do you want me to put this in some rice? Because, the rice will soak up the water and you'll be fine. He's like, no, no. He was drunk. He was like, no, no, no. And so she didn't do it. So it didn't. His phone. What he said was that his phone didn't work. Okay, so this is where we go into Angel's brain and we're trying to figure out what happened. Because the next day is when they were texting back and forth, and on the boat, the iPad starts going off, and they look and they can see the text messages, and they're quite flirtatious between Adam and not Adam. Oh God, why did I say Adam? No way. David, the charter guest, and Hannah, right? So, although if it was Adam and the charter guest, that would be interesting. It's not. So so I picture that night he gets wasted. Maybe he kisses Hannah. Maybe falls asleep. The next morning, he realizes his phone isn't working, so he asks if he can use the iPad on board to check his messages, right? Now I know that you can't just hook your phone up to any old iPad. Like, you got to have permission. Like, whoever's iPad it is, they have to set you up, right? So he had to have asked either a crew member or a production member to hook up his iPhone iMessage to the iPad, because it was the boat's iPad. Now, that's where things got messy, in my opinion, because whoever hooked up that phone to that iPad, the minute he left that boat, they should have deleted the messages. They should have taken it off of the the sync and deleted the history. Because that's discretion. That's discretion 101. You do that for all guests, right? And Captain Sandy, please agree with me or disagree with me, but let me know if I'm speaking out of turn. I want to know, right? Okay, so they didn't do that. And so then Bobby and Bugs, who quite possibly the two of them could probably be the two worst people, which makes me think that maybe it was production that did that. Maybe it was someone on the production crew that did that on purpose because they knew they would cause drama amongst the people. And Hannah because they get the day off, they go see the fortress because Captain Sandy provided them with the opportunity to go see the fortress in Croatia, so they went. And then Hannah disappears, and she went to go hang out with Jason. Well, what happened was that Bugs, Bobby, and there was someone else. Was it Wes? It might have been Wes, but the three of them show up to basically let Hannah know what they saw. And, Hannah's like, whatever. Like, I didn't cross a line. I mean, I crossed the line in that I was flirting with a guest, but, I'm not having his baby or anything, right? So everyone found out about it, and Hannah's a little bit pissed off, right? She's already pissed off at Bugsy because she thinks that Bugsy is talking shit about her, which, in all fairness, she kind of is. Not to anyone else on the crew necessarily, but definitely to the camera on her interviews, which, I hate that shit. And I love me some Bugsy. Bugsy and me had a moment when I was mourning the loss of her grandmother, but I still think that that's a little bit, it's a little shady to be nice to someone to their face and then to the camera say, ugh, God, what a bitch. That's not quite what she said. She's a little more classy than that. But still, I don't think that that's a good idea. And then, but that's only one half of the story. The other half involved Malia and her ping-ponging back and forth between Wes and Adam. And, Adam had her most recently, but then she ping-ponged and now she was back with Wes. And she was spending time with Wes. And Adam lost it. He's like, what about the penthouse? What about Santorini? Which, as an audience member, we're like, what the fuck is he talking about? Penthouse? What the fuck? And then it turns out that they actually had a relationship before the show. And he admitted it on camera. Because the producers were like, the production's kind of confused. Did you guys hook up before the boat? And he was like, yes. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I'm not going to lie. That was a big deal. So this week, on next week's episode, we'll see Captain Sandy sort of. I don't know if she's gonna discipline Hannah or not, but we'll see that the fallout of that whole relationship, and then I don't know what's gonna fucking happen with Malia. I don't know. And honestly, I've been following her on Instagram. It's not doesn't really you can't really tell either way, right? So what's funny is that everyone is either Team Adam or Team Wes. I'm Team Shut the fuck up. That's just me. Anyways, thank you so much for logging on today. I do appreciate you taking the time to spend some time with me. I do appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Angel Benton. And you can also follow me. You can hashtag below deck to talk about below deck, hashtag below deck med to talk below deck med, or you can hashtag days of our lives. God, I'm fucking this shit up. Or you can hashtag days to talk days of our lives. And I've got a lot to say about that show. Oh my God, so much. So tomorrow will be a good one. And you can hit that little subscribe button on my YouTube channel, and you'll get my videos sent to your inbox every single day. It's like a little present. Okay, thank you so much for logging on, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Peace out. Wubba wubba wubba.